Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure from the Deadpool wave of Marvel Legends. We haven't had a Sasquatch figure in a very long time, and the one that we do have is actually a really solid figure, so this one does have a little bit of a challenger to compete against. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this plays out, because this guy's definitely got the bulk, and that's about it, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 21.5 centimeters to the top of his head. This is completely straight up and down, by the way, not hunched at all. And that makes him about 8¼ inches, maybe closer to 8.5. So he definitely has the size. He's got really nice sculpt work. I think the anatomy on him is really well done. I love that they actually gave him a little bit of thickness. He actually looks like a powerful character rather than just being squashed front to back, so that's nice. Overall, very pleased with the sculpted look of this guy. The hair on it is really nice. We have a few places like on the chest and the fronts of the biceps where there's really no hair sculpt at all, but it's still the same color. So maybe it got a little bit soft there in the molding process. I'm not sure, but it still looks pretty good. All of the longer hair sections look really good, and I'm pleased enough with the face. I think we could have gotten a little bit more detail out of that face. It looks somewhat bland, and I get that he's not supposed to have like a ton of expression, but I think a little bit of more detail would have been okay. Mostly because we're looking at things like, we have a sculpt like this for such a small character with all that detail, and then for such a big face, we go back to that very plain looking sculpt, which it's not a huge deal, but it's just something that kind of stands out since they're juxtaposed in the case. Okay, so as far as the articulation goes, the head on this guy, it rotates at the bottom, and then we do have a hinge in there, which is going to be somewhat useful. He can look down, but it looks a little weird, so you're probably going to maybe just not use it so much, maybe just rotate it a little bit, which is fine. That's okay, but it does have it if you want it. For the shoulders, we have the hinge, which works pretty nicely. You can get that arm out there all the way, no problem at all. And then the rotation on this guy it's fine functionally speaking, but the arms are very loose. This one's not as bad. This one's almost completely limp. So that is not good. Like, why? That's not okay at all. That's not good. That is not good at all. So he's got giant heavy arms, and the joints aren't strong enough to hold them. You do have a bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow gives you not quite 90 degrees. And of course you have a hinge and a swivel for the wrist, so that's okay. Ab crunch on this guy works fine, I guess technically. He does lean back, but oh my gosh, it's like a pizza oven in there. You could toss something in there and cook it. That's a big gap. That is a really, really big gap, and it's not sculpted down here at all. It is sculpted in here, but that is just very strange design. It doesn't go as far forward as it goes back, by the way, just a little bit forward. So again, really, it's like, why do these things happen? Why can he not lean over, but he can lean back all the way? And it's still not a great design here, so I don't get that. Also, I want to point out while we're here, this part is glued on up here, and there's a lot of glue around the perimeter of that for me. I have a lot of that white and kind of powdery looking stuff going on. Not ideal. We do have a waist twist, which is fine. And then we have leg articulation, which that happens. So that happens sometimes. The legs don't go too far forward, but I'm guessing for somebody like this, a big bulky character, that's okay. They go almost all the way out to the side, way better than almost every other figure in recent Marvel Legends history, so that's interesting. Far better than Spider-Man. The hips are particularly loose. I don't know what's going on with our Build-A-Figures lately, but the QC is just pretty garbage. This guy luckily can stand mostly upright, so we don't need it too much, but they are very loose. The thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is pretty stiff, so that's good. And the leg pops off when you try to bend the knee, so be aware of that. And then for the ankle, we instead of having a ball hinge like we probably should, we just have a regular hinge, which lets the foot go forward and back and then rotate just a little bit because it's at such a severe angle, it's pretty much worthless. And then lastly, we have the paint to talk about, which is fine for the torso. It looks okay. But we do have a lot of segmented sections, so there's like no shading at all in the bicep, heavy shading here. So it's not, it's not a deal breaker by any means, that's okay, but it would have been nice if there was some transitioning like there is throughout the torso. Looks great here, not great here. It's okay on the legs, actually. So it's just super mediocre. Like, I really wanted another good Sasquatch figure, and the sculpt of this guy looked fantastic, and it still does. but then we get really loose joints and pretty lousy paint. It's just like they don't try half the time anymore. Half the time the figures are great, and then half the time the figures are not great at all. So it's okay. I can't say I'm pleased to have it, but I'm not entirely disappointed either. But having these super floppy arms is just not okay. It's totally luck if it stays in place or not, depending on which part of the fur catches on the sculpt up here. So it's pretty disappointing, honestly. It's nowhere near as disappointing as Lizard, but it's not good, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.